Hi folks. I am doing this filming late on Monday. I have this goal of always releasing my video on the same day every week, and sometimes it's still admittedly a little bit of a struggle, but here I am. It's Monday night. I just opened up my boxes from my office at work for the first time, like since I saw them last March of 2020. Wasn't like Christmas, I would say, but it was kind of fun to see all the stuff that was normal and on my desk right before the world went super crazy. Yeah, it was a moment in time that I wanted to remember, and in a way that is the theme of today's video. It is around gardening, I swear, and I'm getting there. Office supplies to plants. How do we get there? Like this. The garden is a great prompt for reminding you of creatures and events and humans and things that you want to remember. And you might be wondering where you're going with this, Amber. The garden, I'm not saying anything revolutionary. I'm sure you've heard of it before, but the garden, the plants you pick for the garden can be a way to remember certain things. In the broad sense, I have plants that only bloom at certain times of year, like my tulips and daffodils in the spring, or my asters here in the fall. Plants that bloom at special times of year can be celebrated, but also, if there's a person or a creature or an event in your life that you want to remember on a regular basis, it might be worth considering planting a plant to commemorate them. And that's something that I wanted to cover. It's technically spooky season, October, but it's also a time of year when we think about the other side and about folks, beings that have left us. And one way to remember them, to think about them fondly, is to plant plants that remind you of them, because you can go out there and enjoy your garden and enjoy your memories of them. That was a long ramble, but wasn't sure how to ease into this one specifically. Anyway, today in the garden, I want to show you some plants that I have grown or picked specifically to help me remember creatures and people that I truly care about. So that said, the topic is not super happy this time around, but I think it's really important. We're going to be covering two plants actually in particular. One will be the birth flower for September, which is the Aster, and the other is a yellow rose called Sunshine Daydream. So the yellow rose, to go in reverse order, I actually planted for my dog Pugsley, who passed away last February. The joke is, why did I pick a yellow rose for him? Not because of it symbolizing friendship, but because he always had the best taste in flowers and would always pee on my roses, which I took as the highest compliment from a pug. And so when he passed away, I really wanted a way to remember him, and I thought, you know what, like a yellow rose would be a good way to go. And it's ended up being, at times, the prettiest rose that I have in the garden, in my border, which is hard for me to say because like they're all my favorites. But that one is just, it's just really spectacular, and I see it right outside my window from the kitchen, so I get to appreciate it even when I'm not outside. So that's how I remember that little guy. He's always got a place in my heart, and the rose helps me just visit him every once in a while and see how he's doing on the other side. I'm sure he's having lots of adventures with all of his pet pals out there. So, unfortunately, we had a pretty big rainstorm come in yesterday. There was a whole swath of blossoms here, and then this morning I came out to find out that the Sunshine Daydream rose was pretty much deflowered, but there's just a little hope. I spotted it. Let's see how she looks. There we go. This is one of the older blossoms. on the rose. It starts out more like a buttered popcorn yellow, but turns into this really pretty creamy white color. That's just lovely. You'll have to trust me. I'll see if I can find a photo when it was blooming more fully, but that's the kind of beauty that you can expect. All of these stems are dead-headed blossoms, so it was really just full of blossoms just a day or two before, but that's life. The aster, on the other hand, the aster is actually, it's the birth flower for my younger son Joey, but the thing about that is that I actually lost a baby who was like about to be born the year before Joey was due. Joey's a rainbow baby, and that baby did not come to be, and I was pretty broken up about it. And so the birth flower for September has held a lot of meaning for me. And so every time it blooms, that's just a time that I can sit and spend some time with that thought and those memories. And it's part of, I think, being human, is that we can revisit our memories, and garden just helps us do that. All right, and then last new arrival, well, maybe next to last new arrival that I wanted to show you, is my aster flower here. Aster is perennial. This one is called Bluebird, and the reason I planted it was because it is a September birth flower. So it's both ended up being my son Joey's birth flower, but also a baby that never ended up coming to fruition. Both share the same birth month, and so I get to enjoy this flower and have just a moment to remember the highs and lows. Now, ironically, this particular aster doesn't usually bloom. It's a September birth flower, but I find this particular variety doesn't bloom until early October, which is where we are now. I'm trying to find you some good blossoms. Oh, let's look down here, because it's just, oh, I see one, but I don't know if we'll be able to reach it. But it's just starting to bloom, and it's a lovely, it's a bluish purple, I would say. It's not going to be a true blue blossom, but it's not, I've seen asters that come in pink varieties, red varieties, white varieties, and I really love this color. And it is just, I mean, if you can see, it is just chock full of swollen blossoms about to burst. So it's going to be a beautiful show. Asters are perennial. So this one is actually in its, third fall. I planted it second or third, I think third fall. So it is just living its life. I actually pinch it back all throughout the summer until 4th of July, because that's what my family taught me to do. So that's looking lovely. And then last minute is, you can see down here, I already had a Sunflower Amber Glow Dianthus, or carnation, here, and I liked it so much that I waited till it wasn't back ordered anymore and got 2 more planted there. So that'll be a nice little curve of sunshine. And I love these moments where you get the main theme of the border garden here, of the driveway garden, which is that gold plus purpley blue. It looks lovely. So hopefully, I don't know, you don't have to plant things in the garden to memorialize sad things. Certainly, I've known people who have planted trees when a baby's born, or just to have their own legacy. They plant perennials, for example, things that are going to get bigger and bigger and thrive for decades. All I really want you to take away from this video is that you can choose a plant not just because it makes you happy, but maybe because it reminds you of something important to you. You have that power. You are the gardener, so you get to decide what stays and thrives versus what can hit the road. So think about that. And, you know, on days like this, when being in the world we're in right now seems like a very long slog, it might be worth thinking about planting a plant to memorialize it. Maybe someday it'll be a distant memory and all you'll have is the beautiful plant. Who knows? All right, people. Have a good evening, and happy October. Happy spooky season. I promise you there is a October garden tour coming up next. I wanted to wait to just have a few more things in full bloom and maybe get some pretty leaves in the background. So once again, if you like this video, the content on this channel, please like and subscribe so I can keep you up to date. Gardening is going to be winding down in some ways here in this last month. I don't know if it's going to be the last month of growing. Depending on what zone you're in, you might still have time to go. But in Michigan, October is real iffy to make it all the way through without a frost. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Catch you on the flip side.